Monday will mark 10 years since a brutal murder that rocked downtown Madison. That homicide remains unsolved tonight, despite some leads in the case. News 3's Jessica Arp tells us how a decade later, an effort is still underway to find justice for Brittany.
In downtown Madison, time goes on. Students and young professionals come and go from apartments on Doty Street every year. But miles away in Marshfield, not much has changed.
Does time sort of stop for you on that day, on April 2nd?
Absolutely.
In 2008? Like, do you feel like you can, that it is 10 years later?
No. I don't.
No.
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 It's quite unbelievable.
That is 10 years already.
It's completely unbelievable.
For 10 years, Kevin and Jean Zimmerman have lived surrounded by memories of their 21-year-old daughter, Brittany.
How often do you think about that day?
Every day. Every single day.
Brittany Zimmerman was a promising UW-Madison student in 2008, engaged to be married. Her fiancé found her brutally murdered in their apartment on April 2nd, sending police then to Marshfield.
I mean, we thought it was going to be solved right away. We didn't even consider that we'd be here 10 years later.
Following Brittany's death, a revelation. She called 911 and no one came. A dispatcher saying she didn't hear signs of a struggle. Police and the Zimmerman family saying screams could be heard on the tape. But still, years later, police tell the family and reporters on the solemn anniversary they are still following active leads and the case has not gone cold.
Why do you think there hasn't been an arrest or even seemingly like a person of interest or a major break in the case?
I mean, we thought there was. It was 2.5 years ago, Chief Koval came to our door on my husband's birthday and said, "We believe we have the person responsible for killing your daughter," December 9th.
A DNA hit on a man named David Call, the same man neighbors told News 3 the week of the murder they'd seen going door to door asking for money. A friend of Call's in prison, Andrew Scholes, told investigators Call had confessed to him. Scholes asked prosecutors for a deal in exchange for information. Then he died in a motorcycle crash last year.
If I had the probable cause based on the totality of the evidence I had, don't you think I would have made an arrest?
Madison Police Chief Mike Koval says the Zimmerman case has prompted change in investigations after Koval watched the longtime sole detective on the case break down in his office.
He was convulsing at one point, and then I was convulsing. And I realized we can't continue to assign cases this way.
Now a team of detectives work the case, holding full work days to follow up on leads, including one in the last month.
This is not what I would consider been relegated to a cold case. This still has active leads that are worthy.
That includes a new resubmission of DNA to the state crime lab, a number of new tips following Scholes' death, and the hope that a death gives this case new life.
With Scholes out of the picture, the old school cop in me still hopes now that loose lips will sink ships. Someone's going to say something to somebody about this case in a bar or overheard.
That's all we have is hope. We can hope.
Yeah.
But realistically, I'm not real sure that they're ever going to solve this, at least not the way it's being handled right now. I just don't believe it.
The Zimmermans now say they'd like to bring in their own investigators, but say they can't access case files if the case isn't considered cold.
What would you really tell people about why they should rack their brains?
Because if it was your child, you'd want everybody in the world to rack their brains for you. And
Put yourself in our shoes, just for a second.
Just for a second, put yourself in our shoes.
And what we've been
And knowing
through.
what this little girl meant everything to us. And, she was never there to hurt anybody. She was always there to help people.
And while life goes on in other parts of Madison and Marshfield, the Zimmermans imagine what the last 10 years might have looked like.
She would be a doctor right now, that she wanted to be, and we would be proud of her. And we could go visit her on her animal farm and everything she wanted because she loved animals. That's what we wish, that she could live her life the way she wanted to.
That was Jessica Arp reporting. David Cole is currently in prison serving a sentence for his 7th OWI offense. Again, police have said they do not currently have enough evidence to arrest anyone for this crime. If you have any information on the Zimmerman homicide or saw anything that day that you think could be important, you can call Madison Crime Stoppers at 608-266-6014. There is still a $40,000 reward fund for answers leading to an arrest.